Well, she said she's magical, mystical, a powerful wonder girl.
Registered retirement savings plans have a great reputation as one of the best investment tools you can use to save for your dream retirement. But what many people don't realize is that RSPs can help Canadians with their home ownership and education goals too. So joining us now to discuss that is Dilys DeCruz, the Vice President of Wealth at Meridian Credit Union. Welcome back to What She Said, Dilys.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so let's get right into it. How can RRSPs be used for more than just retirement?
Yeah, so we all know that RSPs are great for saving for your retirement, but what we also don't realize, and this is a really great thing for especially young people to think about, is start saving younger for an RSP, because you could use it for buying a house in the future. So as millennials start getting their jobs and wanting to put money away, they can actually put money into an RRSP and withdraw $25,000 down the road out of their RSP, tax-free, to buy their first house.
Well, that's kind of a bonus, because basically, if they were at a high tax rate, they would be getting half of it back. I mean, half of it's the government. Mm. So the tax that they would have paid on $25,000, the government's giving them.
Yeah, and so firstly, it accumulates tax-free in the RSP, which is great. You start an automatic. So I would say, as young as 18, if you start tucking away money within 10 years, you're close to $20,000 anyway. And it accumulates interest, and then the government allows you to take it out without any withholding tax. So when you take money out of an RSP, your withholding tax can be anywhere between 10 and 30%. So, I mean, if you took out $30,000 from an RSP just by itself, you would be paying $9,000 in taxes. The financial institution you withdraw it from would be holding that tax back and paying it to the government. With the home buyer's plan, you can take up to $25,000, and you're not getting hit with any withholding. The catch is, but it's not a bad catch, is that you have to pay it back over 15 years.
Okay. So what about education? There are ESPs, but is this something different you're talking about?
Right. So RESPs are just saving for your children's education in the future. But using your RSP for education purposes allows you, if you want to do, pursue further education in the future. So, for example, you could have done your undergrad and then you want to do your MBA, or if you're a mature student and you have all this money, or you're a mature student like all of us, and you want to go back and do some courses, you can take up to $20,000 out of your RSP tax-free, and you have to pay that.
I did not know that.
No. Lifelong learning.
So if I want to go and get my master's,
yes,
I could do that.
Yes, you could.
I could.
Yeah, up to a max of $20,000 under the lifelong learning program. So these are the things about RSPs. We always think about saving for your retirement and using an RSP just for retirement, which is always a good thing. But if you start that, you can actually have the benefit of, and this is especially good for young people, again, thinking about put the money in, because then when you're ready to buy a house, you can withdraw this money, and then all you have to do is pay it back over 15 years. So whatever you borrow, amortized over 15 years, you just pay it back, but you haven't gotten hit with the tax.
So does it ever make sense for not one of those two purposes, but any other purpose, to withdraw money from your RSP?
Everybody has different circumstances. So if you were really in a situation where financially you might have lost a job or you need the money, that is an option, but you're going to get hit with that withholding tax. So I think it's really important to look at, are there other sources of income to take it from? Do you have it in unregistered money? And if you have it in unregistered money,
a TFSA, if you've been doing that would work.
TFSA, exactly. If you have it in GICs outside of an RSP, that's the way to do it. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where you absolutely have no other option, and then you have to do what you have to do. But if your income is lower at that time, your tax will be lower when you withdraw it.
Okay, so let's go through a few of the basics. March 1st is the contribution deadline for RRSPs. Right. Okay, but what is the limit?
18% of your previous year's income. So that would be on your tax return from 2017. It will tell you what your max is. So it's 18% to a max of $26,000.
Okay. So that's good. And anything else we need to know other than just call you?
I mean, there are all these options, and I think it's always important. There's so many things bombarding us right now during our RSP season. So, if you find yourself in any situation where you either think you have to access your money, or you're not saving enough, or you want to buy a house, all these things wrapped in, yes, absolutely, go in and talk to somebody, because there are so many different options that you need someone to walk you through it based on your personal situation.
Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, let's talk about money and couples. Now, we know that numerous studies have shown that money is one of the top reasons couples argue and ultimately divorce. So money and couples. My husband and I did not pool our finances. I don't think you did either,
No.
did you? How should couples consider managing their finances today?
Well, I'm glad to hear that you didn't pool it, because that would be the number one thing I would say.
Really?
I would say that, yes. Now, I think that you need to pool for day-to-day expenses and mortgage and all those things. You have your day-to-day household expenses, and I think it totally makes sense to have an account where all that comes out. But I absolutely encourage everybody to have their own individual account that you can put your own spending money and play money in. And really that way you're not dipping into the household, because this is where the biggest problem comes in, You see that designer purse, or a guy wants to buy tickets to a game.
Your husband sees a boat.
A boat. And you dip into the household, and then all of a sudden you look at the account and go, what happened?
Right.
That causes so many problems.
And also the other issue is usually in a couple, one person, I mean, sometimes both people are really good with money, as in the case of John and Kate, they are both good with money. But many people I know, one person's totally scattered and one person's really good. So you want to make sure the bills are paid. And if you at least are have the control, right? Of that.
Yeah. And that's why having that pooled account for all the expenses, for the mortgage, all the bills, everything else, and however you divvy that up is up to you on your personal
We didn't even divvy it up that. I mean, my husband paid the mortgage, I paid the household bills, it kind of, property tax, insurance, that kind of stuff. So everything, we were equal. We were equal in what we were paying for household expenses. He was just better at, handling like one bill every couple of months, and I was better at the regular ones because I did it all online. But what would be some tips that you have for couples and money?
Well, I think you just gave one tip. So I think everybody has to figure out what works for them. So whether it is you just split up how you're going to pay things, one person's better at doing it online, another person's doing it this way, or whether you have one joint account where everything comes out and you say, okay, I'm going to contribute this and I'll put in this amount. However, you figure out how you're going to manage those expenses. That's the key. I really think too, you have to before, and especially now it's wedding season where people are planning weddings. Figure out, are you a spender or saver? And there's really cool surveys out there that you can actually do, each of you, to see where you fit.
But it's funny because many couples see this sort of like a prenup. If you don't have a shared account, then it says something about how you feel about the other person.
Yeah, throw that out the window. I couldn't be more blunt. I think that you have to, because this is the number one cause for divorce is money problems, right? And
well, imagine having to discuss every little thing. I'm going to buy a magazine subscription. Is that okay with you? Oh, you didn't ask me if you could.
And that happens.
All that nonsense.
That happens.
Absolutely, it happens.
Yeah.
So, what about setting goals? That would be another thing to talk about your financial goals for the future and work towards those?
I absolutely think you need to sit down and have a real financial discussion. You have to see, are you a spender? How are you a saver? How are you going to manage the expenses? What about the future? Planning for retirement. You both want to be contributing, not just one. And especially, I'm going to say this, I talked a lot about women, is that you also want to make sure that you're actively part of that conversation, because we know a lot of marriages end in divorce as well, too. So you want to make sure you protect yourself and you're saving as well, too.
So where can people go to learn more and get some advice?
Yeah, so go to our website. Lots of information on our website, www.meridiancu.ca, and come in and talk to an advisor. We're always there to provide you with whatever advice you need.
And I think the one reason that I didn't want to pool my finances with my husband, no concerns. I have 27 years now. Oh my God. I just never. I wanted to buy his Christmas present with my money, not with pooled money.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to know what he's pulled out to spend on me.
Yeah.
Right? I just need some private. It's not like I'm doing anything nefarious with it or suspicious. I just don't want everybody to know. We have a joint credit card, but then we have separate credit cards. right?
Yeah, and I think it just gives you your independence to buy something that you want to, and you don't have
Absolutely.
to, tell anybody about it, right?
And it's
Okay.
also a great idea for both people in a couple situation to know what's going on with their expenses. Right?
All right.
So
Thank you very much. Talk to you again soon.
Great.
We'll be right back on 105.9 The Region.
Well, she said